I remember like it was this NEAS year, right? And the first session I had, I got 3 tubes, and one of them was just the most picturesque thing you've ever seen. It was like really early in the morning, so the sun was just coming out. It was the most deepest orange in the most perfect barrel. I didn't even get touched by the lip.
Yeah, Fletchins, welcome back to Barreled Surf Podcast. On this week's show, we are back in 2026 and Namu drops in on East Coast power surfer Freya Prumm. She's been on the radar at Barreled Surf Podcast for a little while. Super interesting human. Freya is a qualified pharmacist. She has been working in that role for a few years now, as well as competing on the WSL World Tour. The last few years has been the qualifying series as well as a stint on the Challenger. So it's a real juggling act for Freya. Freya is all about mindset, getting the job done with her body and her mind. It's a really interesting take on the life of a professional surfer. So I hope you enjoyed this one.
Barrel Surf Podcast.
Barrel Surf Podcast.
Barreled Surf Podcast.
Barreled Surf Podcast.
Barreled Surf Podcast.
Barreled Surf Podcast.
Barrel Surf Podcast.
Yeehaw!
Welcome back to Barreled Surf Podcast. Namu here with you in the shed quarters. Very special treat for you today. We have got an incredible power surfer from the East Coast. Her name is Freya Prumm. Welcome to the show, Freya.
Thanks, Namu.
So you've got a bit of a day off today.
Yes.
Couple of surfs.
Yep. In
How are the
undisclosed locations.
Got one of the most viewed cams in the country probably, but we won't mention it.
100%.
Why not mention it? It's the places around here. And how were the waves?
Yeah, pretty small actually. Got a bit of like north wind, so everywhere it's sort of blowing into the face a little bit. It's kind of like knee to waist height. Yeah, the water's actually warmed up a lot, so it's been hot. Just good to get out there.
Yeah, nice. Small days like that. Have you got a particular sort of board that you ride?
I'm actually been changing up shapers, just trying different boards. So like a 5'8" is probably like my everyday kind of board for small waves. But yeah, sometimes when it's really small, I just take the fins out and just like do circles because I find that extremely challenging. So yeah, it's either a 5'8" or no fins.
5'8" or no fin. Yeah, okay. There you go. Let's wind it back. So Freya, tell me a little bit about you. Right now, you're currently competing on the QS. You've been on the Challenger before, but you're also a full-time pharmacist. That's right, isn't it? How do you juggle all of that?
Yeah, it's pretty difficult. So yeah, I've been competing on the World Surf League since I finished high school. So I finished in 2009. So in 2010, I started doing the QSs, and I'd never actually done a pro junior either. So it was pretty kind of big jump from, doing a couple of rip curl grom searches when I was 16, and then Volcom had a mini series for juniors as well. So going straight to the QS, it was pretty ambitious. So yeah, I've literally been doing it ever since then. So yeah, it's been a bit of a journey. And in 2013, I moved to the Gold Coast to start uni. So my dad is a pharmacist. He owned a pharmacy in Pambia. So I did Bachelor of Pharmacy. And it's, I had a lot of support from my family to help me with travel and everything. But once I got registered and everything, I've been funding myself. Yeah, I guess why have I been doing it so long is probably the reason, the thing that everyone wants to know. And I just feel like I haven't there's so much more to come and I haven't reached my potential. And maybe if I could find a way to earn more money so I didn't have to work so much, it could just see me get more time in the water.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
It could produce better results. Because I feel like I've just been on the edge of like the next level kind of a couple of times. This year I haven't really had any big results, unfortunately, but I feel like I'm surfing my best and I just intend to only get better. And so, I'm as keen as I've ever been. I'm surfing as well as I ever have. So, why would I stop, especially when it's so exciting with these young kids, they're really good people as well as being amazing surfers. And yeah, it's pretty exciting for me. And it's just a giant puzzle Like, how can I get enough money? How can I get better at surfing? Like, I feel like there's answers to all these problems. And yeah, I guess I'm just as hooked as finding solutions to get better. So yeah, I guess that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, nice. Have you know that I think I know the answer to this. Have you ever done any sort of crowdfunding to finance trips or anything like that?
No, I haven't. So when I did qualify for the Challenger full time. It might have been in 2021. It was like the COVID Challenger. So we only had 4 events and you needed permission to leave the country. So in order to do it, I had to leave Australia for what was probably like 5 months. So I did kind of semi reach out to a few kind of uh, friends on Instagram, basically saying, I kind of need help to fund this. And yeah, I did receive a few kind of community handouts there, but I've never done a big like GoFundMe sort of thing. Yeah, I just haven't really felt comfortable doing that.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was getting at. I don't obviously we've never met in person, but I've sort of followed a little way, and it kind of seems to me that that's not really what would be a priority for you. Rather, sort of make your own way doing that sort of thing.
Yeah, and like part of the reason is like, there's a period of time where I was fully funded by my father and my parents, and my dad. He has money. I could ask him for money, so I just don't feel like it's something I want to do. People, need that money for themselves, and I really could actually just ask someone, but it's part of the challenge. Do it yourself and stand on your own 2 feet. And yeah, I don't want to be, you know, I'll always be my father's daughter, but there's a time where you want to be independent.
Yeah, of course. Have you got other siblings?
Yeah, I have an older brother. Yeah, he doesn't surf, however.
Doesn't surf?
No,
No.
he's kind of like a IT guy. He's pretty cluey, but yeah, he was into tennis and a few other sports when we were young, but yeah, never got into surfing.
So what sort of drew you to surfing in the beginning?
I mean, look, it's a funny question. I mean, it's not. It's just the way I got into it is atypical, I think. So, I have like this fear of the water. My earliest memory was like swimming lessons and having to get the Ernie off the bottom of the pool. And I didn't realize that you couldn't breathe underwater. So, copped all this water up my nose when I was like 2 or 3 years old. And so, that kind of harshness of a sinus full of water, I just believe that being underwater was scary, right? And, I was actually riddled with eczema when I was a kid. And I grew up in a town called Merimbula. It's quite cold. So all these factors made me not really I didn't like the ocean. I was scared of it. I didn't want to put my head underwater. I never learned to swim because of that. And it stung like hell when I went in the ocean. So nothing really was that great. But there was one thing, I used to skateboard when I was younger. And so I kind of could see how fun surfing would be if I just could be comfortable in the ocean. So, I'm pretty lucky. Both my parents surf. And, like, they're not kooks either, like, they're both quite good. My mum, she learnt during, like, the puberty blues kinda era in Cronulla, like, in the '80s, and my dad, as a junior, was, like, sponsored and he possibly could have had a career if he didn't pursue pharmacy. Um, so, yeah, I really kind of respect and admired my parents, and, yes, they were doing it. And my uncles, my cousins also. So I could see how much fun actually being on a surfboard, being on that wave looked. And then so I ended up actually learning in Greenmount, up here on the Gold Coast, where I was in shallow water. It was warm. My eczema had kind of healed up at that stage. I was probably about 8 years old. And yeah, my mum would kind of push me on and I felt safe. And yeah, so after that sort of family holiday up here, I returned home kind of like keen to surf. My parents bought me a steamer. And yeah, so it was probably about 8, maybe I was 8 or 9 years old when I actually was like, oh, I could, this is fun and it's not that scary.
Merimbula is on the south coast, New South Wales. Yeah.
That's correct. Yeah, far south coast, they call it. It's probably an hour north of the border. It's pretty cold. Yeah, it like the water temp probably gets to about 13 in winter.
Okay, that's pretty cold.
It's cold enough. It's sort of like 4-3 territory.
Yeah,
Here
yeah.
it
So
is.
it gets like that down here as well, but
Yeah.
the south you go, obviously, the colder it gets. Yeah. So started surfing down there. When did you sort of, I guess, get the feeling that hang on a minute, I'm actually pretty good at this?
Oh, I mean, I don't know if I ever felt like that, to be honest. I won maybe like there's not many girl surfers from home at that time. So say, I started high school in like 2004. So yeah, I was pretty much the only girl doing it. So I had no idea who was out there. I think I went to a Rip Curl Grom search at Newcastle or Maroubra when I was 15 or something. And I think I made the semis and I was hell nervous. I didn't really enjoy it, but I felt like I was actually better than the other girls. And I was quite competitive. Like I was very into soccer and I really just wanted to be strong and fast. And that's all that I really cared about was being fit or just being strong, really. So I didn't really like losing. And on the soccer field, I was pretty ferocious. So it's just that I was kind of fearful of the ocean. And like if the conditions was bigger than like, say, head high, I was freaking out. So I felt like I had the potential to be okay. But then there was all these challenges that the ocean presented to me that were really, like real Achilles heels for me. Not being able to swim and not really enjoying being underwater. So yeah, to be honest, we're about 20 minutes from a town called Tathra. And so Tathra is where ex-pro Kai Otten, he's from there. And so I would cross paths with his father. And it was Kai's father that really actually said, look, you've got a chance at this if you want. You seem to have a reasonable head on your shoulders. Kai thinks you're okay. Yeah, I guess that was probably just having that sort of credibility from Kai and his father to suggest that maybe it's worth having a crack. Yeah, because I hadn't really seen that many girl surfers when I was young. So yeah, I basically went from seeing not many chick surfers at all to just stepping onto the QS,
Right.
having no idea, like truly.
Wow. So it's a bit of a jump. So Kai Otten and his dad, what's Kai Otten up to these days? He's chippy, isn't he?
Something like that. Yeah, he's doing a trade of some kind, but I think he's got a pretty good gig coaching. He does a lot of the challenger guys, maybe I think in like the Northern Beaches, they have like some funding allocated to supporting them on the QS and on the Challenger Series. So I think he's part of that funding and they pay for him to coach those guys. So I think, yeah, he lives in Tathra, maybe doing a bit of chippy work and also still traveling.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, good gig.
Once your sort of competitive surfing life is over, do you see coaching as something that you'd like to get into?
Yeah, I would love to. The problem is I don't think I get actually accredited because I can't swim that well. Like you need to, you actually have to swim like 800 meters in a certain time or something like that to be like a surf coach with accreditation. But look, I would love to. I just love like the kids that are doing the QS now, like they're sort of late teens and early 20s and I can only remember when I was that young and what sort of a person I was like. And these kids are just so advanced compared to what I was. So I would really love it if I could share anything to those guys and girls. So yeah, it is definitely something I would like to do.
So even like for QS coaching, it's reasonably high level. You've got to be able to swim.
I don't know. Probably us serving Australia. I mean, look, you could just do some under the table cash, of course, but to actually market yourself as a surf coach and not get sued by someone, I think you do actually need some kind of certificate. But I mean,
Okay, there you go.
if
Do
I
you
wanted
find
to,
yourself? Sorry, go on.
oh no, I was just say if I wanted to really pursue it, like I'd have to train to get my swimming technique up to speed.
You
I'm
can do
sure.
that. If you can surf at the level you surf, I'm sure you can swim.
Yeah, we'd get there.
And do you find that even now you're sort of mentoring some of the younger crew around the events?
Sometimes, in truth, I just try and support them because I know how hard it is. I try not to give them too much advice because I don't want to say the wrong thing as well. But, you just want to lift them up, cheer them up. When they have a loss, give them a hug and say, oh, but that one was sick and just focus on the positives with them and really show them that, it's not the end of the world. And if you can survive the losses, that's really the hardest part about the whole thing if you want to have longevity in the sport because, yeah, they get you down, of course. But, if you just have a system of review and you can learn from it, then, and you come out stronger, then you're always winning, in my opinion, even if you don't get the result.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I can certainly give people some lessons on losing. Even yelling at board riders, I tend to lose all the time. So anyone wants some tips on how to get through that. But what's your sort of review? You mentioned a review process. How do you sort of download after a heat?
Yeah, for sure. So something I've been doing quite regularly is I just write out all the scores. I just write the conditions of the heat, and then I give like a real quick summary of what happened in the heat. I might add in some key points of things that happened before the heat that might have been significant. For example, phone call from such and such who said this, or surf coach Richo said the bank's good straight out here. So I just add in anything that may affect the way I perform. Um, then I just write out all the positives, what was good. Like, I had a good start. Like I started with a 5.0. And then maybe, I'll finish with some things that, I could improve on. And then I have this final section. It's called Huey's Takeaway. So it's kind of like, if the gods were trying to teach you something through this heat, like what would it be? And it might be, look, I just have to back myself, or it's just like, don't be patient and wait when you don't know where the hell you're sitting. Just little bits and pieces like that. So that's kind of how I do it. Yeah, but also I'm very fortunate. I've been working with this mindset coach. So working with her has really enhanced that kind of process of like review and get better and improve, and just doing these iterations instead of kind of feeling like you're not actually learning. So yeah, her name is Claudine Chi. And yeah, so for the last 2 years, we have like a serious debrief of what happened. And it's more like, she's not a technical coach, but mentally I download on her. And her insights have just been like mind blowing. Like, I wouldn't probably still be doing it if I didn't kind of fall upon her, because I just enjoy it so much more because I feel like I'm learning. And like, in truth, while being with her, like, I've had the lowest losses that feel like the end of the world, and it's because I've put so much into it, more into it than I ever have. But then once you get through that, it's like you could just get this extra boost. Like, then you feel better than you ever have, like, and it all feels more possible than it ever did. So yeah, it's been a really interesting journey. But having someone who's skilled that you trust is like paramount. Like, just a coach or like a mentor, best investment I've ever made, essentially.
Claudine Chi, is that?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. I'll have to look her up. She got a website
Absolutely.
or personal sort of
Yeah,
stuff?
she does. Yeah, she does. Yeah.
Do you take any, I guess, inspiration from other sports? I mean, the reason I asked that is I was just thinking of that guy, Ben Crowe. Do you know of Ben
Yeah,
Crowe? Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, Ben Crowe, like, yeah, I actually actively wanted to learn more about, like, people say it's all about mindset and who's confident. So Ben Crowe was someone, I'd really stumbled upon before I started working with Claudine. But some of Claudine's other athletes I started to follow. And so those are mainly ultra runners and boxers.
Okay.
So yeah, I really follow them two sports now, just because I guess I've met some of these other clients, and what ultra runners do is just, it's crazy. Like, for example, they run a loop, like a 6K loop every hour for like 3 days without sleep. And it's like, so for me, it's like, I'm not the best paddler of all time, but it's like, Freya, you can paddle as hard as you can for 25 minutes because someone's out there running for 3 days. And like, I really like have drawn from stuff like that. And it really has given me strength to look at these other sports. Boxing is something I've actually partaken in recently because I wanted to be tougher. And those guys, no one trains like boxers. And they are just, the amount of focus and skill they have to initiate, like, under fatigue. Like, if you've ever boxed, it's like your max heart rate the whole time, right? So just keep composure, make good decisions with that level of fatigue. I think it's kind of similar to a heat. You're trying to paddle back out, you need a score, you're getting smashed in the whitewash. You got to spin on one when you can't even breathe, and then you might get another hold down. So yeah, I think there are some parallels there. But unfortunately, the physical training just kind of tightened me up and made my posture kind of more slumpy, made my arms bigger, which all the things that I don't want. So there'll be a time when I will have a go at having a real fight, I think. Yeah, that's right. I just think, the fatigue they endure but the composure they need to have in order to make the shots and have good form, I think can be likened to, what we have to do on the surf. And they're so tough. Like, they get punched in the head all the time. I can appreciate that, which, we get smashed too. And I kind of like the rotational aspect of like the biomechanics of the whole thing. But for me, it just made me quite tight in the pecs and made my arms bigger. So yeah, it's not the time for me to become a boxer.
Mate, I'm just looking on the sharkeyesglobal.com website, and I've seen a very attractive man modelling a wetsuit with no arms. It's the Gen 3 S-Seal Hybrid 2mm short arm steamer. It's none other than our favourite local surfer, Pete Arnie Arnold. Mate, he absolutely rips. He's a good-looking model, and T-Bone, I believe that is your wetsuit of choice due to your hairy forearms. You do not need a sunscreen on your forearms, and you love a short arm steamer in summer. Is that right?
I certainly do. I love having my arms free in the ocean during summer. So short arm, long leg is my suit of choice this summer.
Feeling that wind whisk through your whiskery forearms there. Very good.
Yes.
Sharkeyesglobal.com. Check it out. They've got a whole new range of wetsuits. They're top of the wazza.
Yeah, Shark Eyes.
G'day, Namu. Tell us about the latest limited release from Cheeky Monkey.
I'll tell you what, T-Bone, it is the Noisy's Tropical Hazy Pale, and it is an absolute delight. The can says, juicy tropical pale that'll keep you coming back for more. Balanced, highly crushable, bursting with citrus, pineapple, and mango. A tropical fiesta, if you will. Yeah, Cheeky Monkey.
Holy hell, I'll be coming back for more.
Yeah, you love a bit of noisies, don't you?
As we say in Barrel Surf Podcast, it is a good time to get yourself a glass or a bottle or an infinite case of Forester Estate wines, Adam.
Oh, man, I've been loving the Lifestyle Shiraz 23 vintage. It's won about 74 gold medals. It's hardly, you can't even see the label anymore. It's just all gold medals. And, mate, it's very reasonably priced, especially if you go on their website, chuck in the coupon BARRELED for 25% off, and, mate, you are drinking a $100 bottle of wine for about $20. It's killer.
I'm Malia Manuel, and you're listening to Barrel Surf Podcast.
So I know that you are a pretty tough trainer. What sort of training do you do on a daily basis?
Yeah, like physical training.
Yeah.
Yep. So the most valuable training that I've done was with a guy called Namu. So Nam is a breath enhancement coach. So he really got me from not being able to, like, having so much fear of being underwater to actually being able to, complete these tasks underwater, confidently and calmly. So I did that twice a week for 7 years, pretty much, all through uni, to get me to a point where, look, I'm actually standing in a decent sized tube now, and I never thought I could ever even get smashed by a waist fire barrel. So that did so much for me, and I think it would actually do so much for everyone, because that level of being able to stay relaxed under that pressure or just fear will cross over to any area of life. In terms of physical training, right before I started competing, I broke my jaw on a jet ski, and so I didn't really know what to do. And I knew I wanted to be strong, but I kind of was just a wiry kid, and small but wiry. And I started doing all this stuff at the gym. I didn't know what I was doing, and then I met a woman called Jan Carton. Jan, I guess, is probably known in the surfing world for her work with Mick Fanning and how she helped him rehabilitate a snapped hamstring. So she basically introduced the Czech modality into the surfing world. This is going back a good 10, 15 years. So, yeah, I got wind of her, and she was incredible. She taught me all about posture and why I was doing everything wrong. And, yeah, but the Czech modality, the one that Jan kind of teaches, is more holistic. So it's not just like physical movements. It's like your breath, your diet, your thoughts, which I think as an 18 or 19-year-old really set me up well to learn about health and have a good sort of foundation. Yeah, that's correct. Yes. So that was Paul Czech. Have you heard of Paul Czech? He's like the founder. He's an American guy. Yeah. So I don't really do Czech stuff, but they kind of sparked my interest in training. At the moment, I'm training with a guy named Jared DeTheory. He's got like a footy background. He's trained with Keegan Smith, who's like a high level coach. Who's trained with like Charles Poliquin and people like that. And he's over toes guy. He unearthed him. So yeah, I guess I really enjoy Jared's training. He's a really nice guy. He feels like, a brother to everyone, and he just has a really nice community. It's like, he's not pushy. We do surf specific stuff. It's fun to have a laugh with the girls and the groms. And yeah, there's always amazing people coming through. Like you get some CT guys coming through, you get some of like Olympians coming through. And yeah, we just have an awesome time. I don't really actually take it that seriously. People think I do, but I guess I'm naturally strong anyway. And it's something that I really enjoy. And so yeah, I really just enjoy doing my breath enhancement training as well as doing Jared's training. I always dabble in the gym with my own stuff as well. I'm not very mobile. So for me, it's all about how can I increase my range of motion. You see some positions like particularly on the forehand that people get into is like that Cossack squat that's really kind of harsh on everyone who doesn't have world-class mobility.
You're quite tall.
Yeah. What's that, sorry?
You're quite tall. How tall are you?
I'm not super tall. 171 centimeters. I think that's 5'7" ish. But yeah, I'm kind of like short-legged and long torsoed, which is unusual for a female. So yeah, I just love it. I'm interested in it. Being, after studying pharmacy, we do like a whole anatomy, physiology, like a year of it. So yeah, I'm just really into all of that, and the body makes sense to me. So it's just, yeah, some people hate it, they don't care. But for me, I just love it all. Give me all the details.
Yeah, amazing. Going back to the breath work, I've done a course with some of the guys over here, Shark Eyes breath work. And where do you go to and where's your happy place when you're having a big wipeout?
Oh, I don't know if I have a happy place actually. I don't know. I don't have a happy place really. I just try and just go dead in the body. That's my tactic. But to be honest, there's only one time I feel like my training's truly been challenged, and that was at Nias. I feel like that was the closest I've come to drowning, which was actually in a heat at Nias.
Oof.
But other than that, I feel like I haven't fully been in trouble and been like challenged where I actually have to go, right, if you don't relax now, like you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, let's hear about the near wipeout.
Yeah, sure. So it was 2 years ago and it was cooking. It was like the best NAS. It was like 6 to 8, right? And one of the day they ran all men because it was just cooking, and like it was a wise move by the WSL to do that because there's not many women who would take good advantage of these conditions. So I was on like one of the first or second heats the next morning. So it was still quite big. So we had like a 5-wave set, I think. And like, I was very scared. I was scared the whole time. And so I promised myself that I would just go. What's the worst that can happen? And so, yeah, I did that. It was a rogue set right at the start of the heat. I was pretty deep. I let the first one go. I looked around, none of the other chicks really wanted a bar of it. And so I just went. And yeah, I made the drop like it felt just, and got tubed. And I remember like being in the tube thinking, oh yeah, I'm coming out here. And all of a sudden I was underwater. Like I don't remember the transition of thinking, yeah, I'm coming out here. And then all of a sudden I'm underwater. But I remember thinking, I just wanted to be cool and like stand tall and like, live that dream. But then my brain was like, no, like there's so much energy, like you've got to brace, if you cop a lip on the head or something. And then, yeah, so I managed to think all that, but then suddenly I was underwater. And so I remember if you get sort of deepish into a breath hold, you'll feel a diaphragm contraction. And so I was doing that already. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. So I come up from the first one and I felt like I was under for a while, but I wasn't stressed or anything, but I could feel that like physiologically, I was strained, but mentally I was okay. And then I look back and my board snapped and, I can't swim, right? And so I've got the board snapped just above the tail pad. So I've got the flimsiest bit of foam and it's like 3 meters away from me because the leg is just fully stretched out and the board's miles away. And then, yeah, I've just copped the next sort of 4 like 6-footers kind of on the head, just in the worst spot you can be at NIAS. Sort of the end section, it actually kind of converges and there's a lot of energy there. And so I think by the time I copped all of them, probably the last whitewash, I didn't actually have the energy to swim back up. Like if I had copped another one, I don't think I could have got back up. And like I only had this flimsy bit of board by then. So I could barely I only got to it, after 4 or 5 waves. And and I remember when my caddy got to me finally, I couldn't lift my arms. Like I just was so spent. I didn't have the energy to paddle. Like I've never been through that intensity during training. And we could be training and be underwater for quite at least 2 minutes sometimes, not actively but passively. And then, actively probably 1 minute at least. So, yeah, just to be in a position where I'm, probably can't swim to the top and I can't lift my arm to paddle, yeah, that was pretty much as spent as I could ever be. But it is my own fault because I can't really swim. So I'm confident with a board, but without a board and it's just me, I'm not that good. And I can't swim well enough out of the impact zone. So I ended up getting back out, getting out of the wave, but only getting 2s and 3s because I wasn't deep enough. I lost the heat actually. But the problem was, if my board didn't snap, I would have just been feeling like a hero, just pulled into the biggest tube of my life, straight back out, straight into another one, probably would have made it. But yeah, because it snapped, then, I went from just need, could have been, heroics to need dead kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, lost first round. It was a real shame.
Wow. Do they keep the broadcast videos for the QS events? I might have a look at it up.
I'm not sure. I'd be happy to send it to you. It's on my Instagram, the
Yeah,
wave I would have pulled into somewhere.
I'll check it.
So yeah, I mean, it's funny. From the side, it looks solid, but looking into the tube, it doesn't look that big. But looking from straight on, yeah, it's reasonable.
It's one of those sort of, when you're at NEAS, it sort of does that almost double up thing, doesn't it? When the bigger sets are coming.
Yeah, yeah. The thing about NIAS, the bigger it is, the heavier it is. It doesn't just break out and feather some big waves, they'll just, feather out the back somewhere. It just turns more slabby. So it's yeah, you don't really want it too big. It's you would have seen that classic footage where the boat kind of gets in the way on that huge XL swell. That's just mega slab. So it wasn't that big, obviously, but it demonstrates it gets heavier as the swell gets bigger.
Yeah, for sure. We actually spoke to Matt Bromley, the South African surfer, about
Okay.
his wave that he got on that day, and he said, yeah, it was as heavy as anything he's
Oh,
ever surfed.
yeah, it's wild, eh? There's so much. It feels like a tsunami. There's just so much ocean in it. It's hard to describe because it's in a bay, right? So it almost feels like the whole bay is coming at you. And it's funny because it's actually such an amazing learning wave when it's small. And then just the bigger it gets, the more gnarly it gets. It's quite funny. But it can actually suit any surfer, that wave, from a big wave guy when it's 10 foot to a beginner when it's 1 to 2 foot. So yeah, it's an interesting wave. And yeah, it's created by the earthquake, really, because the wave was a lot different prior to an earthquake that they had back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, the 2004 tsunami, which really
Yeah, that's
disrupted
right.
the whole area and sort of produced
Yeah,
away waves and made NEAS
that's
better.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't think it
Crazy.
broke before. It was sort of 4 foot before.
Really? Yeah, I heard it was mellower and longer and more rippable kind of thing, whereas this is now it's more kind of slabby and short.
Yeah. So you've been back to NEAS a couple of times since then.
Yeah, only for the comp, but yeah.
Trauma?
What's that, sorry?
Any sort of trauma in the next 2 years?
Yeah, actually, yeah. Trauma from heat losses, to be honest. I remember it was this NIAS year, right? And the first session I had, I got 3 tubes, and one of them was just the most picturesque thing you've ever seen. It was really early in the morning, so the sun was just coming out. It was the most deepest orange in the most perfect barrel. I didn't even get touched by the lip, and I got 3 beautiful little tubes, and it's very hard to get waves at NIAS during the contest, right? And so that was my first session, and I was like, I'm on here. I've always dreamed of winning this wave. I got 3rd once, and then I nearly died. This is my year. And then so the morning of my heat, it was just cooking, and the tide was dropping, I think. The tide was doing something favourable. And then, so I was just, right, I'm getting tubed here. Everyone was getting tubed all morning. And then for my heat, it just didn't tube. No wave tubed in my heat. So I waited for tubes, and the chicks on their back end, they really do square up and they kill it. So I couldn't quite do the job on just forehand turns. I was really hoping to get barreled. And then so I lost my heat. And then you just watch every other chick get tubed in the next heats and then also into the men's. And then, yeah, just on the wrong side of it. Hey, I was
So
bummed on that.
that
But
was this year.
that was this year. Yeah.
'Cause I'm looking at an Instagram picture from looks like it's 2024 where you're in a big old keg in a blue rashi.
Right. Is it a bit, yeah, that was the one that nearly killed me, I'd say. Yeah.
That was the one. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there might be a movie if you have a look around those tiles on Instagram, there'd be probably a movie of me probably pulling in and not making it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll check that out. But yeah, that, I mean, you say it doesn't look big from the side. That looks like a pretty big barrel to me. That's 10 foot
Oh,
tall.
thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's big enough, but yeah. If I didn't break my board, like I was so on, I would have had all the confidence in the world. You know when like you get a sick tube and you don't make it, and you're a bit scared, but then you got over the fear and you got the reward of getting tubed and you survived the wipeout. So that combination is like, right, I'm Superwoman. And I would have been like that first wave of my heat. But instead I nearly died. So
And
unlucky.
I did see, I sort of was watching a little bit of the Philippines event this year, and you got a pretty bloody sick one in that one too.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was a bit similar actually. Oh, not similar, but when you're on and you're like, yeah, it's my event, like, because I was quite ill in that heat actually, that first heat. And then yeah, second heat I felt good, and then yeah, couldn't buy a wave in the third heat, which is it's a harsh round to lose in the round of 16, because if you get into the quarters and say you lose in the quarters, you've got a fifth, right? And so that's a keeper technically, am I right? Um, but then if you just lose in that round before, you're surfing good, but you're not actually coming out with anything like a result. So that was
Yeah.
probably the toughest loss I've faced, because after last year, so the year prior, I lost to young Charlie Haitley. She had a blinder on her backside, and I was struggling a little bit, but then I got a 9.5. So I got this 9.5 mid heat, and then it stopped breaking. So I felt like I never got my chance to get my back up from the 9.5. So then this next event this year, I had that firmly in my brain, like, oh great, I've had a 9.5 out here before. I've got unfinished business. So it was looking like, yes, this is on, but unfortunately I lost in that round of 16.
Yeah, that sucks. I mean, so
Yeah, it does.
you notes after that. What's your Huey takeaway from there?
That's a good question. Well, to
Not
be
much
honest,
to do.
it was about adaptability. So that morning it was really fun and tubing. I was expecting to get tubes, but it wasn't, and I just didn't adapt to the conditions. So it's like I can come in with all the intent in the world to get barreled, to win, to do this, but at the end of the day, I've got to match what Huey's giving me. And it wasn't tubes. And yeah, as much as I want to get tubed, it wasn't happening. So, 2 6s would have got it done, but that's still quite an ask, 2 6s. I think I lost needing a 4.3 or something like that. So I should have adapted to what was going on.
Hit the inside and done a big rote.
Yeah, yeah.
So I've seen you got your air game. Is that something you're just constantly working on, or is it a new thing
Yes.
for you?
No, it's not a new thing at all. Unfortunately, I have a bit of I'm not going to say a skating background, but that I skated before I surfed. So I'm not unfamiliar with, doing little airs and ollies and things like that. So when I was 13, I did my first choc hop, and it was the best day of my life. I just thought I was going to be an aerialist, and I loved the feeling of when the fins are free and you've kind of got no traction and being in the air and spinning. And unfortunately, I just haven't really progressed that much from 13-year-old Freya. And yeah, it kind of breaks my heart a little bit, for myself in a strange way. But yeah, I do enjoy spinning the alley-oop direction. It comes natural to me, but the air reverse direction, very difficult. I've only ever done, say, like 5 to 7 air reverses in my life. Starting from age 21, I landed my first one. So
That's
yeah, I
fun.
would just love to focus on airs. Like that would be so much fun.
Have you done much stuff?
Oh, no, not really. I mean, I have been to Waco, but I've never surfed an air pool, a wave pool on air setting, which, it's about 10 grand an hour or something. Yeah. So like you've got to book out the whole pool so you can or you and your mates, can do it. And I think it's a bit cheaper in Australia than say Waco in America. But yeah, that would be sick. Like that would be my dream come true. I remember one time was skating at the HBC into the foam pit, like just launching off the end, or no, sorry, onto big mats of air. And that was the second best day of my life. Like that was so much fun. Like I just love all that.
Is there any plans for wave pools around where you are?
I do hear of things. I do hear of it. Like you hear of Oki doing something up north, or you hear of Mick and Parker jumping in on things, but maybe so there's a suburb called Parkwood, which is kind of near Southport. I thought they were thinking of doing something up there. But yeah, I'm not really in the loop with those kind of things.
Yeah, yeah. I've sort of we've talked to a few people in the wave pool world, and there's supposed to be one coming to Perth.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so they're talking the end of 2026. I can't really see that happening, but down here we're like, yeah, bring it on, so that
Yeah,
half
hell
the
yeah.
people that come from Perth down to this area sort of stay at the wave pool.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
yeah, I don't know if you realise it's getting more and more crowded by the day down this way. So I
Is it
reckon,
really? Oh man, I haven't been to WA since 2018. Yeah, I just can't wait till the day I get back. It's so good over there.
yeah, it's pretty good. It's yeah, no complaints from here. Uh,
Yeah,
let's talk about 2026 for you, Freya. What are your sort of plans and goals for next year?
yeah. So unfortunately for me, I can't qualify for the Challenger Series. We've got 2 events left. Like say I won every event to come, yeah, it wouldn't be enough. So yeah, I'm really just going for the win regardless. It's sort of like a pressure-free kind of thing. And so yeah, just I
Two
really
events.
want to. What's that? Sorry.
Where are the next 2 events?
So I think this is speculative. Oh, there's definitely one at Burleigh. It's been announced in February. And I have a suspicion the next one, the finishing event will be in Phillip Island.
Okay,
So they're
gotcha.
supposed to be QS 4000s. And yeah, that'll wrap it up. So yeah, just keen to go for the win for those. And I'm pretty keen to continue next into another QS season. I'm not sure what it'll bring. Maybe I'll only do the ones I want to do. We did Korea this year at the wave pool. I could probably drop that. That was a bit. It wasn't my favorite event. It was a great pool. It was sort of in an industrial area. The weather was bad. I didn't have the best time there. But anyway, it's a lot of money as well. So maybe I could just pick and choose my events a bit more. I'm not sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I'm not too sure how I'll play it, but I'm keen. Like I feel like I'm surfing as good as I have. Um, yeah, it's just like the financial thing is it's tricky, but work. I don't mind work. Like I really enjoy working at the hospital when I do. That's been a really positive thing for me in terms of just my own learning. But yeah, working in community is a bit more of a drag. But yeah, it just actually allows me to scrape it together so I can do what I do. So yeah, if I got a bit of help, then yeah, it'd be 100% yes. If I had my time again, I'd probably try and do some trips instead of just putting all the eggs into the competing basket, just to improve my surfing sort of thing before hitting it so intensely. But yeah, I'm definitely keen and yeah, expect me back on the QE in 2026.
yeah, nice. So the way that it works this year, how many of the qualifying series moved to the Challenger and the Australian Oceania region?
My understanding is that in the women's, it's 4, and then they have a wild card as the 5th.
Wow, and how many? Because there's 6 or 7 events. How many scores are actually go to your event your year total?
I think it's your best 4 events, actually. It might be 5, but I have a feeling it's only 4.
Well, I'm looking at the ratings now, and I reckon if you win 2 4000s, you're in the big show or
No,
the
I
second
don't
big
think
show.
so. I
No,
don't think so. Well, if you add 8,000 points and then say minus my 2 lowest points, because they will get replaced, and then I think it only brings me up to about 5th or 6th, and that's assuming no other in that top 4 do anything at all. I mean, look, you're welcome to challenge my math because perhaps I
I'm
didn't do it
challenging you,
thoroughly
pharmacist.
enough.
No way. Are you kidding me?
Hey,
I'm
I can do my basic calculations that I need at work, but there's no calculus going on, that's for sure.
so
So,
in,
yeah, I mean, it
sorry,
is
go on.
what it is. Like, it's funny how, I just feel like I'm in such a better place mentally and physically and performance-wise, but then I hadn't got the results this year because, yeah, I feel so much further ahead. But, that's life and, results. Improvement is non-linear. Just because the results aren't there doesn't mean you've progressed massively. and you might be having the worst day ever, and that's when you actually get the win. So who knows, Namu? It's just a pretty fun journey at the moment.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing is, you know, win, lose, draw, how you handle it and what sort of a person you are is kind of far more important a lot of the times. It's hard to say that when you don't go through a heat, but
No, no, that's 100%. Yeah, I definitely agree with you. It is for me being the vehicle of personal development above all else. It took me a while to realize that, and that's kind of what kept me in the game because I think it's for me, I choose to take on hard things because I see the value in that. And then I think when hard things occur without me choosing, then I'm more equipped to deal with them, if that
yeah,
makes sense.
yeah, it
So
does.
it
Sure.
is kind of that. And financially, it makes zero sense. But yeah, like it's basically an investment in the self. So, I mean, what better thing than to spend money on your own development? It is a lot of money, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good journey, and I don't regret it. And
Do you get
yeah,
any support from sponsors to travel and that sort of thing, or is it just 100%
Uh,
off for you?
yeah, nothing financial at the moment. I'm definitely looking for partners actually. So I do have a bit of a crew helping me out with that. So yeah, that would really, make a whole lot of difference, I think, because I do spend like I work full time when I'm home. Like I probably regularly clock 40-hour weeks. So, it's not, there's so much light, I can surf before work and after work. It's just the after work surfs. I'm just psychologically spent and then physically quite tired as well, just from standing up, all day. So I can see how my training would improve a lot if I just didn't have to be in a pharmacy, for 8 or 10 hours of the day, and how much fresher I could be in training. But and just the freedom of actually, I can only surf D-bar before work because that's all I have time for. Whereas, I could go to Ballina and it'd be bigger, right? So just having that time to search for better waves, I think would be valuable also. So yeah, I don't receive any, like I get discounts and things like that, which is awesome. You know, I appreciate that. And, I've had, Trav from On a Mission, he's like helped me out for 10 years or something, And yeah, I get sort of services and things, like free accommodation with surfer stays that they organise for me. Yeah, I do get some awesome perks, don't get me wrong, but yeah, money is
Be nice to get
really, it makes a
back,
big difference.
get you to even just do part-time in the pharmacy while you're home, so
Yeah,
you get some
yeah,
more
that's right. Yeah,
some
that'd be cool.
chips and that sort of thing.
So
Yeah,
yeah, that's
let's
the
get that
situation.
organised. Any
Yeah,
sponsors that wanna give Freya some backing, get in contact. Hey,
yeah.
how
Thank you.
can we get in contact with you in terms of your socials and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I have Instagram. It's just my name, which is Freya Prumm. I definitely am very active on that. I love hearing from everyone. I really try and engage with anyone that comments or sends me a message. I really just actually value, authentic, real communication. I've had some people respond to me with AI just in emails and text message, and it really, yeah, it really annoyed me. So I'm all about, having a conversation. And yeah, if anyone wants to ask me anything, like I really enjoy sharing what I'm doing, or if anyone wants tips or just share experience. Yeah, I really enjoy actually interacting with people that I don't know on Instagram. It's just one of the perks of doing what I'm doing, actually. So
Yeah,
yeah,
well, that's how we
don't be
connected.
shy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was
Thanks
so
for
happy
responding.
to see you comment there. I was like, and yeah, then I listened to a couple of your potties, and yeah, so good. You've won yourself a new fan.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. Who are some of the girls that are on the QS right now that you think are really gonna sort of make a big dent in the future?
I reckon young Ziggy Aloha Mackenzie. So I think she may have grown up or spent a lot of time in Bali. She's doing schooling on the Gold Coast now, or she may have recently graduated. I'm not sure. She won Philippines, and she just got this beautiful, like, forehand carve. It's just so fast and sharp. Really nice chick, awesome. Yeah, I just feel like she's got the package. Yeah, amazing little human. Young Isla Huppert, the moment I saw her, she's already technically very good. And her strengths is kind of what the judges really like, and that she can just hit the lip really well and really fast. So she'll definitely do well. Young Miller, I'm not sure. Was it Miller Coco? Brown. What's her surname?
Yeah, Mila Coco
Yeah.
Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this girl. She's good character, real good character, like yeah, and, she's quite fun to surf with. She's an amazing skater. If you haven't seen her videos, she's such a good skater. And she's fearless, very technically good in the lip, like, got the air revs and stuff, charges. Like, if she wanted to compete full time, I really feel like she could do that if that's what she chooses. I think she's maybe taking another route at the moment, but yeah, if she wanted to, I feel like she's up there. Yeah, so I mean, those three girls were quite young. They'd be like 18, 19, 17, 16. Hard to
Yeah.
tell.
We came
But
across
yeah,
Mila in the Tellos this year. They were on an
yeah,
island
sick.
next to us doing a sunbum trip with
Yeah,
so who was there? There was having a Huey Vaughan and Miller and a few sort of young
yeah,
Americans doing a
awesome.
sunbum trip. And we were like, oh my God, here's a bunch of young pros. This is going to be a nightmare. And do you know what? They were so super friendly and
Yeah,
respectful and "Right,
yeah,
this one's
for
yours,
sure.
that one's yours." I couldn't believe it. I was like, there's no way that would happen in WA. You know?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah, they're good kids actually. Yeah.
They're really, really
Um,
good kids.
And yeah, she has been polite to me in the lineup. She definitely goes a lot of ways, but she will, if she's seen that I'm waiting, she will actually ask me if I'm going, and I respect that. And so, I'm happy to share a few with her. So yeah, I
Yes.
think she's got a bright future for sure, as do the other two. And look, I'm sure there's many that I haven't mentioned, but those three come to mind.
Yeah, yeah, awesome. And what's your sort of take on women's professional surfing in general over the next year or two? Because obviously we've got, Krista coming back and Steph coming back to the tour next year. And how do you sort of see that going?
Yeah, like, I couldn't be more excited for what's to come, like, in 2026 on the CT. Like, just having Steph back, like, it's like the GOATs that we know of, like Steph and Carissa versus Katie and Molly. Like, to me, that's all it is. Like, I'm so happy with that. And obviously all the other chicks are killing it too. But just to see those four together at the best of their game, like, I haven't seen much of Steph surf, but obviously she's a goat and she rips. But I saw a clip of Carissa at Haleiwa. Did you see that? Yeah. And like, were you blown away? Because I was. I was like, that's good surfing. And so I just can't wait to see how that unfolds. So I'm really pumped. And yeah, I think, yeah, it could be a special year because do we know the futures of Steph and Carissa, maybe they'll wrap it up soon. I'm not sure. Maybe Carissa not. Maybe Steph. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. But maybe we may not have this four. And like, sorry, I got to throw Tyra in there too because she's incredible. And yeah, I'm just super pumped on it. Like, yeah, it could be a really special year to
Yeah,
have
yeah.
the goats just going at it and frothing.
And what about for yourself in terms of the QS next year, potentially getting on into the Challenges series? Pipe's into the Challenges series rotation now. So how do you reckon you go at Pipe?
Well, I have I was actually when I was on the Challenger that one year in 2021, there was a QS 1000 at Pipe. So
Okay.
I entered this event, and I didn't get in, but Carissa Moore pulled out. So I got a spot in this Pipe event, right? So I have experience at Pipe, oddly enough, competitive experience. Can you believe it? So look, I mean, my background of not being able to swim, being fearful underwater, blah, 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 blah. So, and this whole competition, professional surfing, being a vehicle for my personal development, I just think there is no better way to really put that to the test than to be in like a high level event at Pipe. Like, are you kidding me? That's like, that would be like a fairy tale, like, a living embodiment of that. So if that could happen, I'd be so happy. And how I would go, I'd be terrified. But I'm hoping, but I would prepare thoroughly, thoroughly, thoroughly. Yeah. I haven't been to Hawaii since. It's very expensive, unfortunately. And so I use this kind of off season to work a lot. So yeah, I would probably just do whatever I can to make sure I could spend maximal time in Hawaii. So I haven't been training in the pool that much at the moment because the waves are tiny and like I've got to work, so I can't get to the pool when we have our classes. So yeah, I would just really double down on time underwater. And yeah, I don't know, I'd love to have a crack. And if it was right, I think I'd do okay. Backside would be more difficult. But look, if you're in it and you have a go and you don't hold back like that, that's a win for me. Anyone who is out there and sending it, that's really commendable in my books.
I totally agree with you. And as my son would say, just from the vision of the last couple of years comps in the Philippines and Indonesia and everything, you're absolutely sending it. So I don't think you'd have any issue at pipe whatsoever.
Oh, thanks.
So we are going to
Cheers.
manifest this Freya Prumm
Yes,
next,
please. Yeah,
getting,
that'd be awesome.
getting into the Challenger from the QS, getting some financial assistance through your incredible work that you will be doing with your new sponsors. That's going to happen.
Mm.
Feel it. I can feel it.
Thanks, Namu. Appreciate that. Let's get that out there.
All right. So we're going to wrap this one up, Freya, keep it under an hour so that people can have a little listen on their commutes and stuff.
Yeah, no worries.
Anything you want to leave the audience with?
Just get out there, rain, hail, or shine. I don't know. Surfing's the best thing you can do. If you're a surfer, you're the most lucky human on the planet. I was born with 2 parents who surf, so that makes me the ultimate gift receiver. But yeah, I think it gives us everything if we let it. So don't let bad waves stop you from having a good time out there.
Get amongst it, people. I really, really appreciate you coming on Barrel Surf Podcast, Freya. And I reckon let's check in with you sometime next year just to see how things are tracking. And,
Yeah, awesome.
regardless of what you do, where you go and everything else, you're a success in my books. So love
Thanks,
having you.
Namu. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're a super interesting cat too. So I want to hear more about
Thanks.
next year's
Yeah.
endeavors.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to be back. So just you make the call and I'll be there.
Nice one. All right. Thanks, Freya. And we will catch you next time on Barrel Surf Podcast. Thanks for listening.
See you.
Dot.